Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
Yo, what the f is his legs? Yo!
This is Necros, one of Marvel Rivals' biggest creators. He went from being the face of Spider-Man to being left out of main events. And now, even if you say his name, people look at you like your name was inside of those files. And this kind of shit doesn't just happen normally. If you've played Rivals long enough, you for sure know who Necros is. He was one of the first big Spider-Man players who made combos, tech, and people were calling him the best Spider-Man for a while. But as he got bigger and as the game grew, people started wanting more from him. They wanted to know the way he played, why he did what he did, and the way he was thinking about everything. And at times he wasn't good at explaining things, and other times he was just wrong in the worst cases. And that's when the whole vibe and tone around him started shifting, how everybody started seeing him differently. Now this isn't a hate video towards Necros and or anybody else I mentioned in this video. I'm just here to say what happened to him is unfortunate and give a different perspective on the whole situation. The community is turning toxic, and I'm here to explain how, starting with Necros. So he came from Overwatch, where he was a pretty good player in Overwatch, and his skills just transferred over to Rivals easily. He picked up Spider-Man because Spider-Man was like a more fun version of Genji in his opinion, and he just liked to Marvel IP more than Overwatch's, which is honestly understandable. Overwatch Heroes is just like,
That shit stank, don't it? Ugh.
but since he started playing Spider-Man, who was the hardest character in Rivals, and honestly still probably the hardest Rivals character to play, people want to know how he do it. He used to make this controversial form of content called Smurfing content, where all you do is you make a new account and you take that account from like the lowest rank to the highest rank. Now, people hated when he do this because whenever you're Smurfing, you're ruining the fun for people who isn't at your level, because you're just sitting there and you're just beating their ass without them even having a chance to do anything back. And sometimes they get beat so badly they don't even understand how they lost. But what Necros used to say to try to like justify it was educational content, and it was used to help people learn how to play Spider-Man for the people who wanted to learn how to play him. And Rivals has a big Smurfing issue where people just get on Smurf and ruin it for other people, and that's just an issue with ranked games altogether. But because there's no real outlet to take their anger out on, Necros kind of just became a big target of hate for this. And like the issue with Smurfing is somebody who's obviously way better is in a lower rank beating people, but the reality of the situation is it isn't that bad because you're just losing one game to somebody who isn't your level. And even if you get like 3 games straight in a row of just Smurfs, it's not like everybody you meet will be like the top 1% of players, because that's just illogical. But nonetheless, people don't like having to actually try to win the game, believe it or not. They'd rather be able to just get on and enjoy the game with the little bit of time they have and play, which makes sense. But then that creates this whole nother issue where it becomes, I don't have enough time to play and climb rank, but this person just sits at home all day and no life to this game. I want to actually climb the rank, but I don't get that much time. But then there's a person who plays 10 hours a day every day, who mastered the mechanics inside and out, just happened to get in your game and then just steamrolls your team. It's like, what do you do at this point? Do you punish the player who took time to learn how to play the game, or do you take time and punish, or do you punish the person who doesn't have time to play as much? Also, I want to say I'm growing really fast. I would appreciate it if you guys could help me reach 1,000 subscribers, so please subscribe if you enjoy the content. Now that's a big issue with modern gaming, but Necros was the boiling point of this, where people just started saying, you know what, fuck Necros. And honestly, I don't really see a fix to this, so go in the comments and tell me what would you guys pick if you had to pick one or the two, and why would you do it? And the answer can be just for money. Like, what would be the better outcome other than just money? But this all boiled down to Necros, and people started getting on his ass, and after a while he got so much hate he eventually had to stop doing the content, even though he did do it for the intentions of helping people learn how to play Spider-Man, because people wanted to know what would he do at their rank, because people make this excuse that they can't rank up because certain ranks are so much harder than other ranks to play, which it is true to some extent. So it would be helpful to see somebody who's at the best of the best in that rank and seeing what they would do. Now this all sounds extremely noble, or like it has good intentions, but this leads into another issue people had with Necros, was that he was kind of unhinged, or more of unfiltered, where he'd say something offensive that people wouldn't like hearing and they'd get upset by it. He said things like being a support is easy, and that caused this whole quote-unquote support strike where people wouldn't play support healers until, I guess, Necros said sorry or some shit. Now, no actual smart player followed that, but there were people who were doing it, but people didn't like like in general that he said support was easy. Now, although he was correct on it, people don't like being told that they're bad at a game, because being bad at a game is integral to your self-worth. It isn't, but the way people act nowadays, you can't say stuff like that anymore. And I know I'm probably coming off a bit pretentious, but he's not wrong, because there's genuine hero difficulty levels. There's some characters who are harder to get value with, and in order to win, you gotta win by getting the most value. So obviously a character like Spider-Man is gonna be way harder to get value with than a character like Invisible Woman, who can heal and go invisible. Now, that's not to say that fucking you're gonna have 99% easy strolls as a support, because you won't. You're still fighting real people, and real people can make even the most easiest things extremely difficult. So just because you're playing a support doesn't automatically mean you're trash. But I don't know if this is just an American issue, but I guess people seem to not be able to correlate those two anymore. And this also led to some of the most dumbest arguments where people were saying, oh, what Necro says doesn't matter because he's a one trick. And one tricking is also an issue within the Rivals community, which is also stupid, because I already said my opinion on one tricking before. If you've seen any of my other videos, believe it or not, I don't believe one tricking is bad, especially if you're good at the one trick. Now, should you one trick? No, you should not one trick. But is it possible to be an extremely good one trick? Yes. Will you lose a lot more one tricking? Most likely, until you get towards the end game. But that's just how getting better works. You know, a lot of people in this community just assume you're supposed to be good at everything you do, and they get mad at you for being bad, when the reality of the situation is you're human. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's gonna play perfect, and this game isn't Overwatch. You know, we need to stop comparing it to like it's Overwatch. I've never played Overwatch. I quite frankly don't give a shit about Overwatch, not gonna lie. That being said, Marvel Rivals appealed to me because I love comics, and a lot of people love comics. I one-tricked when I first came to this game. I know, big shocker, but I one-tricked because I loved Spider-Man. I didn't care about any of these other characters, and you're not finna catch me playing Punisher because I could give a fuck about the character. Now, I got into other characters because of Rivals, which is a great thing, but you shouldn't be a fucking gatekeeper of who somebody can play to have fun. And at the end of the day, Rivals is a game meant for having fun. People get so sucked up into this competitive mindset that you can't have fun in ranked, and that's why a lot of people get so toxic and upset. It's because they don't have fun in ranked. Now, I'm not saying go into ranked and throwing should not be fun, but playing a character you want to and competitively trying to learn and improve, that's where the fun comes from. But in order to get better, you have to be bad, and in order to develop a skill, you have to start off bad. You're almost never just good at something just from picking it up. Now, Rivals players can't get that through their head. They get so upset that they're on their 10th losing streak of the day, and it's everybody else's fault but their own. And honestly, you can't even blame them either, because the matchmaking is so terrible. But that's another issue for another day. Now, all of this is child's play compared to the next controversy that Necros got into. Necros got into extreme hot water because he made a joke. I know, very fucked up of him, but he made a joke in his stream title where he named it like Grock, turn her around and bend her over. Now, for those of you who aren't chronically online, that may not seem like an issue, but it becomes an issue because apparently at the time, Grock, the Twitter AI, if you don't know what that is, was turning people naked, and you can like request women to be naked, and I guess people were upset about it, and it was a quote unquote big issue. And apparently they also did that with minors as well, and Necros didn't know anything about this. He just seen the fucking thing and thought it was funny, so he did it with the Lady Loki skin in mind. Now, what's really sick about this is the creators that tried to come out here and try to turn Necros into being like some sort of pedophile, all because he made this joke, saying he's taking it too far. And first things first, everybody who said this, pussies, bro. It wasn't that big of an issue, and it's low-key evil to turn around and be like, oh, you're hurting people by doing this, when all he did was make a joke about something he didn't know about. And it's just shit like this that made me not like people like Flats, because Flats also has a history of being a complete weirdo. And then there's this girl, Aramori, who also talked about the situation. She's a complete weirdo too. And you got people just making this an extremely big deal. These people have to live on Twitter to even know what's happening like that. It's honestly pathetic. And I don't care that they get paid from using Twitter. That doesn't make you any better than all of these people. And you got the world's biggest virtual signaler over here saying, real talk, man. I know the rage bait, etc. thing is a bit and a joke 90% of the time, but this isn't even cool, even as a joke. I think anyone who's not sick in the head would feel awful when they learn the truth about the whole trend. Just come out and apologize apologize, man. Don't wait.
Now you have to write a letter apologizing to him. Apologizing? For what, bitch? Because he's a fucking pussy?
And then you got the fucking esports team that died once its star player left, saying people are like, oh, it's just a joke, but it just makes me feel so fucking icky. I don't know, maybe I'm a snowflake, but I don't give a fuck. You're a man making a joke about women and children being undressed without their consent. Now, the thing that's weird about this is Necros didn't even say anything about anybody at all. She's literally putting words into his mouth to try to make him seem like a villain, just to get sympathy points. You know, Pokemon did shit like this and the fucking internet canceled her, but these people just get a pass from it. And it's weird how you get a bit of power, you get into a good position, and you can just try to ruin somebody else's career because they said something you don't like. Like, I mean, I guess fucking fuck free speech, I guess. And I can understand if she was saying, if Necros was saying something like racist or like fucking genuinely just out of pocket. This dude Necros made a joke about Lady Loki. Like, let's be so for real. You comparing him making a gooner joke into a gooner game to him being a fucking pedophile. Like, she's sick in the head. And you know, people talking about stuff like this is the reason why a lot of these cases just go under the radar, because people never takes it seriously anymore because of people like her doing stuff like this. Like, biggest fucking virtue signalers ever. It's actual real people out here getting harmed that she can complain about, but nah, let's go after the person that's in my area, the person who I can just come out and attack because they're doing better than I am. She's so fucking weird. They're all weird. I don't like these people. Now, the main reason this is an issue is basically what happened is somebody said, I like apples, and then they just said, oh, so you don't like oranges then? And the reason why that's an issue, imagine you have a dream career that took you forever to build and you're working on it. You finally got there. Are your hard work paid off? And you make a joke about something you don't fully know, and you get canceled because that joke isn't okay to make, because people 5 million hours away from you are doing evil shit to people you have no idea about and things you've never even known about. And now you've lost your career because your coworker and friends, who instead of texting you privately to tell you that, yo, it's kind of fucked up or something, they'd call you out in public to make you seem like you're a villain. Now, I kind of feel like they hate Necros, or they feel weird towards them. That, or they're just fucking losers. I don't know which one is true. Honestly, probably both. But then imagine you just lose your career just like that in a flash. Now, that caused a couple other YouTubers and streamers to get on his ass and throw him under the bus. Now, Marvel Rivals has the biggest community full of snakes I've ever seen. Actually, that's a goddamn lie. The entire YouTube sphere is just a bunch of snakes. No, not even just YouTube. The world is just full of snakes. But other YouTubers gathered up together and publicly shamed him and was like getting upset at him for this. And Necros was like, but it didn't matter anymore. People were all upset about him because of it. They wanted to see him fucking burning at the stake. And also she said this point, which is dumb as fuck, but I'm gonna make this clear and I'm gonna say this again, just in case anybody wants to clip me out of context or something. I'm saying this here. Where I grew up from, you were told not to upload stuff about yourself that's personal onto the internet because the internet is full of weirdos. People are full of weirdos. Now, whenever you post a picture of yourself, you should know people are going to do weird things to it because that's just the nature of the world we live in. Does that make it okay? No, it doesn't. But if that bothers you, you should be smart enough to not post personal shit on the internet. Now, let's not act like dumbasses and act like we forgot this. This is internet safety 101. And another like side thing I hate, the way they're coming at Necros and talking to him, they're talking as if they're better than him. And like, they can say that's not what they're intending to do, but like, let's cut behind all the bullshit. This is definitely how they're talking like that smug kid who, I'm gonna tell a teacher on you and you're gonna get in trouble. And I would argue this is a bigger issue that's going on in the internet, where it's okay to gang up and bully somebody until they submit, even if you're wrong. But if you have enough people on your side, you're right. Right or wrong doesn't matter anymore. What matters is how many people you have on your side. Marvel Rivals, the actual devs, ended up seeing this and was like, holy, this guy's too controversial. We shouldn't be like really promoting him this heavy because like he just brings a bad name to us. And so he stopped getting invited to public events. Now what's fucked up about this is just cancel culture to somebody who genuinely didn't know what was happening. And then on top of that, again, I always say this, I don't know why people use Twitter for. Like, Twitter is a place you go to who get upset. Twitter is 99% bots who is just like feeding for info. It's almost no real people or no real activity on Twitter ever. So why do people use it? Because they got nothing else better to do. And what's this whole controversy about? People who got nothing else to do but just want to be mad or upset. And look, I'm gonna say something fucked up here, but we live in a free world. If people want to be weird, that's their right to be weird. And if you want to feel upset about it, that's okay. I'm never saying you should excuse harassment, because you genuinely shouldn't. But like, you can't get mad at Necros because other people are being weirdos. And then there were saying something that just kind of has a point, which is Necros is a big public figure, and you can't really be joking about stuff like that because people would think it's okay to harass women. But the thing is, this is only a Twitter issue. Twitter is like the lowest of the low. If you don't want to get upset, don't use Twitter. Like, I don't know, natural selection at this point, brother. Like, oh, you don't want to die? Well, get the fucking toaster away from the bathtub. I don't know what to tell you, but you have to make your toast while you're in the bath, I guess. That's all I'm hearing from these people. Again, I can see it's one thing if your picture got forced on Twitter and somebody started like making fun of you or using AI, but like AI is an issue altogether. That's gonna happen no matter what you do. That's something, a whole another issue that needs to be figured out. Why are you on Twitter if you're upset that people make dark jokes? And especially when you're a grown-ass adult being upset about this shit. Like, you could literally do anything else other than use Twitter. Expecting people on Twitter to be civil is beyond dumb. And I honestly gotta think you're stupid for even assuming that. I don't care if it's offensive. You're stupid as shit if you think that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm surprised you're still here because the dodo birds fucking died for being too stupid. I'm surprised a couple of them got away. And then another reason people are upset at Necros is because he makes videos about tier lists and people don't like his opinions on it. When you can't make a tier list for this game straight away because depending on who you play, a lot of these characters are way different in terms of viability. And no matter who you're playing, you can be anybody if you're good enough to. Just the levels of difficulty matters severely. Now, there are characters who are hard to fight against no matter what, like Hella, but you know, a Hella versus another Hella might not be as hard as a fucking Spider-Man. No, it might not be as hard as a Spider-Man versus Theme. So people are upset about him for that. And another reason why is because he rage baits a lot, kinda, where he makes overly like old 2016 YouTuber type of titles and shit, where people get upset at him saying something that's obviously like exaggerated, like, oh, this character is super insane, and people just feel like they have to be better than someone or something. And so even if somebody makes an obvious dumb joke or obvious dumb title, they can't help but feed into it because they need to be more superior than something. And again, like, I'll never forgive, I ain't gonna lie, this is kind of annoying, like, love Necros, but kind of annoying as shit at the fact that he made all of these people that are like terrible at the game think Spider-Man is a super good character to play against. Like, I have so many supports that's in like lower elos, and thank God I'm not there anymore. But the amount of times, sometimes I smurf to like teach my friends how to play the game, and like I'm giving them a good consistent teammate that's, you know, consistently at least decent. Brother, it'd be a support that's like, help me please, Spider-Man is on me, and I'm like, if you don't just use any one of your abilities and one-shot him, and then you're like, what, you expect me to have to aim? That's, how dare you? Don't get me wrong, a good Spider-Man is a threat to everybody, but here's the thing, a good Spider-Man is most likely not going to be in low elo unless you're smurfing, in which that's an issue, and yeah, you should peel. But supports are so overtuned that they can protect themselves. Whenever I play support, I never have to complain about dive. I've never played support a day in my life. I hopped on Luna one time and aced with her, bro, and they had a Daredevil and a fucking Black Panther and a Spider-Man, and I just shot there and shot on all of them. I think I uploaded the gameplay on here on one of my videos or some shit, I don't remember. And then I got into so many arguments about this shit. The Marvel Rivals community, they don't want to have to honestly work to get better. They don't want to have to like rely on their own skills to get better. They want to be carried to a free win all the time. And if they don't want to be carried, they want you to listen to them perfectly and play their way. Like, the Rivals community honestly just feels like a bunch of giant man children. And that's honestly kind of why I stopped playing a lot as much. Which, I mean, I started back playing because I like background gameplay and shit. I mean, my Marvel Rivals videos are the ones that kind of pops off. So fuck it. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you. Tell me what you think about all that stuff I said in the comments. Let me know if I missed, if I'm being a dumbass, just let me know or some shit. I want actual constructive criticism. A lot of people in my last video just said some shit and then asked for proof and they just didn't say anything. So yeah, I love you guys. Hope you have a good day and live a little.